Hello, traders. My name is Wolfie, and welcome to the weekend review for February 8th, 2020. As always, this video and all videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. Please do not use this information as recommendations for making financial investments. I'm not a professional advisor, and if you have any questions, please reach out to a licensed professional advisor and always trade within your means. All right, let's get into the charts. Starting Friday, January 31st, we had some really strong volatility going into the weekend. I did have some longs that I closed out on this day. I closed them out because there was a heavy sell and I just wasn't sure what news is gonna come over the weekend. So I sold my longs and bought a put into the weekend. And that was kind of as you can see in the last week, that wasn't the best thing to do because we had a nice rage day on Monday. And luckily I took off my put right in the morning, so I didn't take too much of a hit in my NLV, but it was definitely a losing trade. And looking back, I am not gonna. I might not take another one into the weekend like that. I might just go flat instead of taking a short position because this market is just so strong. And when you have the Chinese Federal Reserve and the American Federal Reserve pumping billions of dollars into the repo market, it's really hard to short the market at this point. So this weekend I took as you can see here, we are at all-time highs at 230.44, and what I did this weekend is actually took a little money off the table and going into the weekend more in a flat position than in a short or long. Another reason I'm doing that is because I'm going on a business trip next week, so I'm not going to be able to monitor my positions all the time as I usually do. So this is going to have to be a more of a light week for me, and I'm going to have to sit back and watch the action. I do have some trades, which I'm going to talk about, but mostly I am in cash at the current moment. So the QQQ has had an amazing run, and I just want to give you some targets for the QQQ potentially on the daily. So just going to the recent support levels, we've gone through the first target of 2228.43, and we're moving on to the 232.27 level. So the 232.27 is the 1.1618 retrace extension, and it's like $3 away. So if there's no news over the week, and over the weekend, I am gonna look to the QQQ to make all time highs. Moving on to the SPY here. The SPY is also had a great move over the week. It didn't hit the all time. It hit all time highs. It didn't hit the target yet of 336.04, but it is moving their way up there. We had a bit of a sell on Friday, and that could just be taking profits off from the strong week into the weekend due to some volatility that could happen over the weekend. So I think that's what traders are doing. As long as the weekend's gonna be quiet, I think next week could be okay to up week, but we'll see. The ultimate target on this is gonna be 339.98 if this low holds. So if we start moving back down and breaks this low, where we do have some potential down move down here. Another thing I want to point out on this chart is the 50 MA. You can see since October we have not come down to the 50 MA until Friday, January 31st. And this is a good sign as this is how strong the market has been. And the moment it comes down and touches the 50 MA, it just goes right back up to all-time highs. So in just looking at the charts, I think the market is fairly strong here. So I wouldn't want to take another stab at the short here, but market could get some more volatility just because we went up so much in the last week. A laggard in the indexes is the Russell. I have the IWM here. The Russell did not hit all time highs, and it actually pulled back to the 21 and 50 MA on Friday due to the small selling action on Friday. The Mox indicator is still pointing down, so I'm gonna be looking to Russell to see what it can do because it is lagging the general market here. If you do want to short something, if you really want to short something on indexes to get some hedge, I do recommend shorting the Russell versus the QQ or the SPY because the Russell just seems like a weaker index currently right now. So that's just the big major indexes. One thing I do want to talk about is the coronavirus. I do want to talk about it a little bit because it is something that's perking up over the weekend. I just saw some headlines from CNN saying that this is kind of the most deadliest day in the current trend of the virus. Um, that's a little suspect to me because it's been going on the whole time and nobody's been talking about it until now. So why are they suddenly bringing this up, right? Could it be that the impeachment news is over, the Super Bowl is over? So are they just on a low news cycle? We had Iowa this week too, right? So there was a lot of news, political news coming out, but there just seems to be a dead zone. So maybe there's just some scare tactics coming up from our media to just fill some time, but it is something to be careful about. And if things do start getting worse, I do see the major indexes going to be under pressure. But also on the flip side, the Federal Reserve and the China economic leaders can start printing money again and pump billions of dollars into the repo market, which is going to keep the market afloat. So, well, I'm going to be watching out for that. Next ticker I want to talk about is Tesla. What a move on Tesla's last week. Absolutely just destroyed the short side here. I heard funds have actually gone out of business because shorting Tesla. So I'm not going to tell you to short Tesla. I'm not going to recommend anybody to short Tesla ever because just the way this stock has just proven the history that if that you can make some money, but you're in the long run you're going to get killed here. But one thing I do want to point out is the doji candle here. When I see a doji candle, it puts me on pause and makes me think that there's going to be a reversal pattern, and that's what happened on Wednesday. So on Tuesday, Tesla had hit all-time highs at 968.99, and it pulled back on Wednesday. So it might be consolidating here. I'm going to be watching the Moxie and lower time frames to see where I can, if I want to jump into the market at all. If it does go down to 21 EMA, I might pick up a butterfly, a cheap butterfly to target the 750 um, price point here. So we'll see what happens. But next week I'm being on business trip, so I probably won't be able to do that. But that's just something that if you want to get long Tesla, a cheap butterfly at 750 might be good. But if you really want to go up, if you think it's gonna really rage, 1,000 could be a great target too, right? So one way to play Tesla I do recommend is taking the butterflies. It's cheap, and it's a short interest trade, so it's a ticker, so it could definitely move really really fast. Speaking of positions, I do have a few trades I want to talk about. I did get out of my AMD trade. So I got out on Friday because my goal was to reduce my portfolio, what I have outstanding going into the weekend. Since last weekend I bought a put, this weekend I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just take money off the table. So I got it around down here at 458, and I sold it around $50. I didn't get the absolute highs. I was trying to get out my call option, but it didn't hit me. But it didn't fill me. But as you can see, this still has room to move here. My first target is 54.61, and the second target is at 57.04. I don't know if it's gonna get there, but as long as this low holds, I do want to see higher targets. So if it comes down to this low again, and we see some good signals on the lower time frames that it's gonna bounce, I will look to get back in again and trade this higher. Another another ticker a good friend of mine brought to me is SDC, Smile Direct Club, and I really like this because it's kind of just doing its own thing here, and that's one thing I like is I want to pick up stocks that are not market sensitive or not as market sensitive. So this Smile Direct was brought to me by a good friend, a good trader. I really respect him, and I got in on a call on Friday, and there's earnings in this ticker for February 25th, I believe, and I have a February 28th call. So I'm trying to play into a run to earnings here. My stop is to anything close below the 21 EMA, and I'm not gonna like touch it until it gets around there. So if this thing, I think this thing can start moving and can start moving pretty fast. So that's something to watch out for. If you want to look at something that's not very market sensitive, I would look at this ticker here. You can see that this is a good, nice bull flag here, and it's at the upper limits of 2 ATR, and it's floating the 5 MA moving average, and it's not going down. Even though there was some big drops in the market, this is moving its own world. So I just want to see if this is gonna move up. It had a really nice day on Friday when the market is down. So let's see where this can go next week. If this thing starts moving and it starts going to like $18, I'm just gonna take my money and run because you can't be. My goal is to get a run to earnings, and if it starts running and going into earnings, I'm gonna take my money. And another ticker I got into myself is TLT. And why I like TLT is it's going to be a play on the bonds, and it's going to be an inverse to the bonds. So if interest rates start going up and bond prices start falling, TLT is going to do well. And the reason I like TLT is because ever since it broke the 50 MA, it's been on a nice run, and the Moxie indicator shows you that it's been going up the whole time. It's pointing up. So hit a kind of a top here, and it dropped down to the 21 EMEA, and that's where I want to pick up stocks. So I picked this up on Thursday, and it had a really nice move already on Friday. And my target is first target is 147.45, and the second target is 149.03, and that's where I want to see if this can get to. As long as this 21 EMEA holds, I'm gonna hold the option here. I do have an option. I think it's in March actually. So I have a fairly amount of good time here, and what I like to do is buy Delta 70 calls, and just kind of Delta 70 calls or puts because it's in the money, and it's gonna have more time to work. And if you want to buy out, one of the quickest ways to lose money, in my opinion, with options is buying a way out of the money call, because it can get there, but the likelihood of it is very fairly low. So I'm trying to play a higher probability wins, and it might cost me a little more, but I'm willing to spend that money. And this is pretty much what I have during the week here. Going into the weekend, I'm fairly light. I want to keep nimble. If things are really happening next week, I might take some time and just try to do some few trades. But I'm gonna be going on a business trip, so not likely. And I just hope everybody has a great trading week and a great weekend. Spend time with your loved ones, spend time with yourself. Just enjoy the time we have together, and appreciate things because this life's not guaranteed, and we get a chance to trade. And I think that's one of the best things that I love to do that we can do passionately. So just don't listen to the panic. Think for yourself, and I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you.